Mary Kay did with Greedy. And, he talks about how being a father has impacted him, getting to be with his daughters and all of that. And just how important all of those support networks that he had, having Grant, another LSU guy going through this, a young guy going through this at the same time with him, his brother, his family. And so Greedy said, when he came back in Cleveland on Monday, he had a great checkup with the Browns medical staff. That's Monday of this week. And he said, when I was first able to just reach across my body and hold it by myself, that was a big shock, and I was happy. I couldn't wait to tell the Browns medical staff about the progression and how the shoulder was moving. It's been a lot of excitement from there on out. So he comes back to Cleveland on Monday, had a great checkup with the Browns medical staff, estimates he's about 60% of the way back with 5 months to go before the start of camp. The doctor said, we see it. They were just like, keep working, keep going. But the true test came Wednesday when he undergo the intimidating EMG test. Would the muscle fire? Would it finally respond? And as Mary Kay says, it did. And he felt the same exhilaration he did tossing the blue confetti in the air during the gender reveal, which he talks about in here. And so Greedy is fired up. The return of Greedy, that's where that all comes from. And he said, I just imagine running on the field, and I'll probably just jump in the stands and shake hands, just let everybody know I'm back, and I am better. And so he says, I'll be the better Greedy. The injury gave me more time to have more knowledge of the game, so it wasn't all bad. I was sitting down, taking notes, doing what I do, getting ready for 2021 and to shock the world. So for Greedy Williams, again, I'll retweet Mary Kay Cabot's article there, and a great interview with Greedy. He opened up, and, I hope that we get to talk to him soon here, Gibby. That would be lovely right here on Cleveland Browns Daily. But
amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty – it's awesome. It's awesome to see him come back. It's a scary thing. You don't know if it is going to heal. Now, one other note that was in there was that, his shoulder, the nerve will probably only get back to 90%, but that will be totally fine, and he won't really notice any ill effects of that whatsoever. But what a scary thing. And, that's a part of, again, we talk about society every now and then on here, and that's why we got to all take a pause. Greedy Williams is a young kid. He's a young kid, his young 20s. And he was getting attacked by a lot of people. He's faking his injury, and he's not tough, and this and that. We said on the show, you can't mess with nerves. When we alluded to, before we were just scoring the injury, pay attention to the scores for the injury. That's what, we were saying it was a serious thing, and it takes time. It takes some time. And finally, it's you know what it was, and I hope that the people that, did attack him try to make some amends. Say, I'm sorry, Greedy, because this is a serious thing. It's a scary thing. You probably didn't know if he's ever going to play again. And the good news is it's looking like the return of Greedy is official, and he will be back. But I thought it was a great interview, good insights into Greedy, who's been nothing but a very nice young man when we've had the opportunity to talk to him on this program. And he brings size, and he brings speed to that cornerback room. And we talk later today. Great interview with Jeff Howard. It's an CBD exclusive. Can't get it anywhere else. Right here. Me and Jeff Howard go one-on-one, the Browns DB coach, and we kind of go through the whole season and talk about Greedy and talk about Grant and Money Mitch and all of that. What is it, 23 minutes you're going to get?
Yeah.
23 minutes with the DB coach talking about everything.
He's the pass game coordinator, so he handles corners, safeties, everybody.
That's right. He helps design a lot of the coverages along with Joe Woods that you're going to run, and it was just cool. It's great to get to know him, but I think you guys will really enjoy that. That's coming up at 2:30. So, again, good stuff there. What was your big takeaway from the Greedy article there, Gibby?
I mean, he's got there's a lot going on in his world, and the guy's trying to support his daughter and trying to support his family, and the one thing that he knows is football. And all of a sudden, now you're on the verge of having that taken away, and what are you going to do the rest of your life if you can't play football? And at 22 years old, 23 years old, it's a pretty scary proposition to, what your entire life and what ultimately has gotten you where you are in life is on the verge of being taken away. I mean, that's got to be pretty terrifying.
It does, and I think you felt that with the article. Again, be sure to check that out. Also, in today's OBM Hot Topics from Tom Pelissero at the NFL Network, with the salary cap set to drop, the Browns do not plan to tender cornerback and special teams ace Javier Thomas. A source said Thomas would have been a restricted free agent. Instead, he'll hit the market, look for similar moves elsewhere. And so what do I make of that? This is what I make of it. Is that when you retender somebody When you tender somebody, you're putting a guaranteed salary on them, and then somebody else can match or beat that, and if they leave, you would end up getting – now, he was an undrafted free agent, so you wouldn't put a first-round or a second-round tender on him. You would probably – if you put a same-round tender on him, he's an undrafted free agent. So the Browns are – I guarantee they want to get him back. I guarantee they want to get him back, but they didn't want to commit a tender level to him. Very good special teamer, and I think he certainly can end up being back. But that's why you're going to see a lot of people that would have been tendered in the past. Teams are trying to make sure that they have, room to do the big, important things, and then they'll worry about that kind of stuff on the back end. I don't think they want to commit that money. And I think you might see a lot of restricted free agents kind of get similar treatment where, and that's what Tom Pelissero said, that I think a lot of restricted free agents are going to just end up getting to be unrestricted so that you're not locked in to anything with those players. Javier, good player. Again, Jeff Howard. We talked to him about Javier, and he loved just his attitude and everything that he did. And so just to kind of let you guys know what our restricted free agents are, here's what it is. Restricted free agent in the NFL is a qualifying offer that sets the value of compensation for a player if you give them a tender. And so these are the tenders right now. First-round tender, which is the greater of $4.8 million or 110% of the player's 2020 salary. If the offer sheet is not matched, the original team receives the new team's first-round selection in the upcoming draft. Nobody ever puts first-round tenders on anybody. Second-round tenders don't get matched either. Here's why this doesn't happen, okay? Here, I'll tell you why this isn't happening. So if you put just the right of refusal tender, which is $2.3 million, if the original team declines to match this offer sheet, there's no draft pick compensation. Original round tender, the greater of $2.33 million or 110% of the player's 2020 salary, whichever is greater. If the offer sheet is not matched, the original team receives a draft pick equivalent to where the player was originally selected. So what this means is that if you tender a restricted free agent, okay, the minimum salary that they can have for you in 2021 is $2.3 million. $2.3 million. So why is this noteworthy? Why are we looking at this? Because that's double, I'm guessing, what Javier Thomas would make on the open market. So what the Browns are hoping is, for example, he made $750,000 last year. $750,000 as an undrafted free agent. So 3 years in the league, you get 3 years, basically $1.8 million in those 3 years. The minimum for a guy going into his fourth year, I think it's either in that $920,000, $850,000 range. So the Browns are saying, yeah, we would like Javier Thomas back, but we're not going to give him basically, let's call it $850,000. If you've got $850,000 or $920,000, you're talking more than double that. Javier Thomas is likely to be a lot closer on the open market, closer to about $1 million. So that's why he's not being tendered. It's not saying they don't want him, it's saying we are not willing to guarantee a $2.3 million salary. And so that's why you're going to see guys that won't fetch that on the open market, especially in this offseason. They're just not going to get tendered. They're not going to get tendered. So that's why it's happening. Don't take that as that the Browns are not interested in Javier Thomas. The Browns are very interested. They like him a lot. You'll hear Jeff Howard talk about how much he likes Javier Thomas. All right, coming up on today's program, we've got Baker Mayfield accepting the award for the Browns last night, the Cleveland Sports Awards on WKYC. The voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, announced the team had won the best moment of 2020. And Baker, he will give a little speech at the end. We've got a couple of mock drafts to discuss. CBSSports.com with a free agent mock draft, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. And Todd McShay, mock draft 3.0. That's at 1:30. 1:45. Are you ready?
Are we going down this road?
Are you guys up to it? Are you up to it?
Are we up to getting good ones?
We need good calls.
If they're not good, I'm going to bail on
fun.
this.
Fun. We're going to open up the phone lines. 15 minutes. Last 15 minutes of the hour.
Do you remember the number?
216-578-0850. No, 216-578-0850. 0850. Yeah.
I think so. Nick, is that right?
That is correct.
216-578-0850. You'll call us up. 145. You know it's rare. There aren't a lot of calls on this program. In fact, I would say maybe this is the second segment of calls in the last 3 years. So,
well, and the last one was pretty awful. So
we'll do better. And I believe in
see.
you. 2 o'clock, Sir Andrew Gribble joins us at the top of the hour. Sir Andrew Gribble calling in on the Fifth Third money line. And you know what he's going to do? We're going to break down the safeties. Breaking down the safeties. And then after that, it's the banger. 23 minutes. Me, Jeff Howard, your DB coach and pass game coordinator, one-on-one. Giving a lot of knowledge about the room, about the season that was, what will be in the future, all of it. That's coming your way at the bottom of the second hour. So let's get going. Let's get going. By the way, OBM Hot Topic number 3, Gibbet. You want to read it to the people? You want to read what's on the rundown as OBM Hot Topic number 3? All right, well, we're talking free agency, and this is going to be, I think it's an interesting one. Who do you want of the Browns' unrestricted free agents? Who do you want back? Who do you want to see back? And then we'll give Hollywood, Money Mitch, Larry Ogunjobi, or other will be the 4 choices. How you like that? Let the people talk. Who do you want to see? And by the way, you can't say all of them, or you could maybe make that E, all of them. Every single one. Run it back. We just won 12 games. Run it back. All of them. Money Mitch and Hollywood, I would find a way to somehow cheat your poll. And Larry, I just click them all. Yeah, I do what I can. You know what the late great Eddie Guerrero said? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. We lie, we cheat, we steal. Viva la raza. We'll be back. Coming up next, Cleveland Sports Awards, the Browns, the best moment in 2020. All right. Welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily. Be sure to catch the latest edition of the best podcast available. What a strong name. We're not even making any bones about it. This is the best podcast available, presented by Key Private Bank, out today or wherever you get your podcasts, or by going to youtube.com/Browns. The Draft Network's Jordan Reed drops by to talk about all the options that could be available to the Browns at pick 26. No spoilers, no total spoilers, Gibby, but did Jordan Reed have somebody in particular in mind that he really wanted for the Browns? Hey, Gibby, do you want to turn your mic on? You know what would be helpful?
Is it not on?
You know what would be helpful?
No,
An on-off light. An on-off light would be helpful for you, Gibby. You would have looked down, you would have seen the light, and you'd said, I'm on, or you'd see no light. I'm off.
Damn it.
Gibby.
I'm juggling like three things.
I
thought I had the
all.
button. I thought
No
I thought I had
excuses.
the button on, and I didn't have the button on. I thought you were going right to the audio. Oh.
You can't even make this stuff up. You're just the gift that keeps on
It's
giving.
not happening.
Yes, it is.
We don't have it in the budget.
We're gonna talk to people.
I'm sure you are. And look where that's gotten us in the past.
Lots of places.
And not so much.
Hey,
More meetings.
listen.
Where
That's
nothing
classic.
gets done.
You can't make that up, Gibby. You can't. It's like the gift that keeps on giving.
No.
Yes, and you hate it. It's going to sit with you all day, all weekend. You're going to be thinking.
My parents are even calling me. I guarantee my father heard it. Was like, what are you doing?
Yes. Tell him, Papa Gibby. It's got to be better. Be better than that. Be better than that. Now, still didn't even answer the question, which was, did Jordan Reed have a really strong lean on 26?
No, he didn't have a lean. There's a couple guys he said to look out for. But, again, when you're picking at pick 26, you're kind of in a crapshoot anyways.
So many scenarios.
Yes. There's a lot of different directions you can go. I mean, you keep hearing defense, but, I mean, there is that possibility that if a wide receiver's there, offensive line, you're going to need some depth. I don't think you take that in the first round, but the question is, the guy you're picking at 26, do you need him to start day one, or is it a guy you can develop? Because that late in the first round, it could go either way.
It's a first rounder, Gibby. Yeah, we want him on the team. We want him out there
want
playing.
Him on the team, but
want him playing. You want contributions.
Just saying.
I'd like contributions from that person.
Best available or position of need at 26? Maybe that should be the Ohio Lottery Keep It Fun poll.
The draft's in the end of April.
8 weeks to be exact.
Yeah.
We got some time.
Let's go ahead. Right. We can get that one in the future. All right. Moving on to the business at hand. From last night's Cleveland Sports Awards on WKYC, Jim Donovan announcing that the team won the best moment of 2020.
When I think back at the year 2020 in Cleveland sports, there are many moments that stand out. All of these moments hold even more special meaning to us this year as they provide a welcome release from the day-to-day worries of our life. But for me, the highlight of the year was the Cleveland Browns season. This season didn't have the buildup and anticipation that others have, and we really didn't know what to expect at all. But starting with Game 2 of the regular season, their first home game, a Thursday night win over the Cincinnati Bengals, and you could tell that something was very different about this team. They were a lot of fun, and they continued to win. A thrilling victory in Dallas against the Cowboys, a gutsy win over a very good Indianapolis Colts team, and they hit the bye week in November. And that's when you could really feel that this season had the ingredients of being extra special. So as the wins began to pile up, the Browns offense started to roll up and down the field. They would go 40 points a game, no problem at all. And the prospect of this team achieving something that hadn't been done in almost 2 decades was moving closer to becoming a reality. But this team, like so many others, had to battle through tremendous adversity, through injuries, COVID-19 protocols, and more. It set the stage for a dramatic ending to the regular season, one that provided hope for a bright future. This is starting to become very, very real, and they're going to the playoffs. Unbelievable! And the Cleveland Browns have made it into the NFL playoffs for the first time in 18 long years. all set to go for the Browns and Steelers. The wild card playoff game from Heinz Field.
Whatever you got tonight, I gotta have it. Win on three. 1, 2, 3.
And the snap goes high over the head of Big Ben. Ah! The one of the Browns have it in the end zone, and they dive on the ball and recover it for a touchdown. Carl Joseph's got it in the end zone. A touchdown.
Not a bad start.
Now he dumps it over the middle and picked off. MJ Stewart's got it. Another turnover by the Steelers. Delivers the ball. It's caught. Landry's got it at the 25. He leaps and scores. Touchdown. Here comes Hunt. He's going to get to the 5, and he's going in. Touchdown.
Let's go!
Gives the ball running near side left. Here comes Hunt. He's going to get to the 5, and he's going in. Touchdown. Kareem Hunt is in.
Keep running behind him.
We're just the same old Browns. Do not be the same old Browns, boys. Just the same old Browns. Back throws. The ball got tipped, and it is intercepted by Porter Gustin. Screen pass right side. Here comes Chubb. 35, 30, 25, 20. He's going. He's going. He's gone. Nick Chubb is in. Touchdown. Throws it over the middle and picked off. Sione Taki. That's going to do it from Pittsburgh, from Heinz Field. They will beat the Steelers in the opening round of the playoffs on a wonderful, wonderful wild card weekend. They knock off the Steelers 48-37. What a night for Browns fans everywhere.
On behalf of the 2020 Browns and all my teammates, the coaches, and everybody that had a hand in our season this year, from all the staff members, cafeteria workers, all the COVID testers.
1 minute.
Thank you guys for choosing us for this award. It's truly humbling for me to be able to speak on behalf of all those people I just said. It was an amazing year and a year of a lot of uncertainty, and to be able to have found bright moments like the one that we just saw, something special, truly so special that I will never forget, and I know everybody that was involved won't either, but it means so much to the city of Cleveland, and that's why you saw so much passion and joy in that highlight tape right there, because everybody that was a part of it, and there were a lot of pieces. It wasn't just one person doing anything. It was a whole team playing as one. It means so much for us to be able to give back to the city, and thank you guys so much for this award. And hopefully we, have.
You're up.
Goosebumps going down through. Take a little stroll down memory lane. Gibbe, the Browns run to the playoffs. Jim Donovan doing what only he can, providing those dulcet tones and just perfectly capturing the emotion and the passion of everything that we all experienced in that stretch run. The highlights, you heard Kareem Hunt scream from the sideline, Wyatt Teller saying same old Browns, which was great, and of course Baker at the end there. Awesome stuff.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
No, I mean, that's and deservedly so. The sports awards, unfortunately, virtual, because it really is one of the best nights of the year in Cleveland.
Probably the first one that I haven't been a part of, because it was not in person in, I don't know, probably my whole time here. It's been a long time. It's a great event.
You feel for them, and
yeah.
I thought they did a great job with it. I know Jay Crawford emceed it, and a number, all the teams came through with things last night, and honoring the amateurs and some of the other big award winners of the night. It was really cool. It was nice to see. They did a great job putting it together, and I know a lot of hard work, a lot of hours went into it, and it couldn't be what it normally is, but they made the best of it. They had their auction is still one of the most amazing auctions that you will ever see.
Yeah, I miss being able to walk around that auction hall, because there's a lot of great stuff there. All right, when we come back, we're going to take a look at a couple of mocks, plus start thinking, getting the mind going. 15 minutes away from some calls here. CBS Sports free agent draft, mock draft, and then ESPN's Todd McShay's mock 3.0 next on Cleveland Browns Daily. If your game plan for this season includes buying or selling a home, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services has you covered. Visit howardhanna.com/Go Browns today. All right, couple of mocks. The first one, CBS. What they're doing here is saying, what if free agency were conducted like a mock draft, like a draft, and that it went in the order of the draft? What would it look like? For example, the Jags, they have the number 1 pick. They get free agent wide receiver Chris Godwin to pair with their draft pick. Trevor Lawrence makes a lot of sense here. Shaq Barrett, the pass rusher to the Jets. Aaron Jones goes to Miami. Pass rusher Trey Hendrickson of the Saints goes to the Falcons 4th. I'll try to get the notable ones. Juju Smith-Schuster to the Eagles at number 6. Leonard Williams to the Lions at 7. Levante David to Carolina at number 8. Bud Dupree, the former Steeler of the Broncos, at number 9. As we go through some more of these, Will Fuller to the Giants, the wide receiver. Hunter Henry, the tight end, to New England, where they need a tight end to replace Rob Gronkowski. William Jackson III, Bengal, who's going to draw a lot of interest if he gets away. He goes to the Arizona Cardinals. The Raiders, Jadeveon Clowney at 17. Dolphins, Matt Milano at 18. Corey Davis, the wide receiver from Tennessee, goes to the Washington football team at 19. And here we go. Now it gets interesting. Jameis Winston to the Bears at 20. Ngakoue to the Colts at 21. Matt Judon to the Titans, who need some pass rushing badly. The Jets, Curtis Samuel. The Steelers get Corey Linsley to replace Marquise Pouncey, who's retired. And here's where we get to the Browns. 26. He has the Browns taking John Johnson III. Younger offers more upside. He is a safety. Guess who's on the board right here? Carl Lawson. I'm calling in. No. We're taking Carl Lawson. We can sign somebody else, a veteran, as free safety as well, to go and get there. Remember, we got Grant coming back. And we have got, and you'll hear, though, get them all the safeties. That's what Jeff Howard says. Get me all the safeties. I'll figure out how to use them. But you got Grant and you got Ronnie Harrison. You got Sheldrick Redwine.
Why don't they have Lawson on this list? I feel like Lawson should be in the
oversight.
top 32.
The fact that he gives the Bucks Justin Houston? No. Yeah, this is bad. This is surprising. It's surprising to me. And look, our benefit, we win. We trade up to the first pick of the second round of this free draft. Now we got Lawson and we got a safety. We're good to go. See you later. But I thought that was a kind of a fun little exercise. How about the Saints pivot to Fitzmagic? Because Jameis goes to the Bears. Fitzmagic to the Saints.
I like it.
Wow.
I like it. Can you imagine the attire there?
Oh, boy. Made for it. Perfect.
How about the Packers getting a wide receiver in T.Y. Hilton?
T.Y. Hilton, little speed. I think they're a little bit bummed out, though, because there are some better receivers that certainly were out there for them in this draft. Yes,
just a little bit. And, you go through it, and I know Ngakoue
and Judon.
He wasn't – I don't want to say he was bad, but he was dinged up a lot for the Ravens.
He's good.
He's a really good player. And if he leaves and Judon leaves, the Ravens have some big holes on defense.
Their top 4 edge rushers are all free agents.
Yeah.
All of them.
I mean, I think – we talk about, for the longest time, we've been talking about the Steelers and Big Ben and Juju and all those guys, and if they're going to be able to retain anybody. I mean, the Ravens are going to lose some bodies here. They franchise tagged Judon last year.
Yep.
And clearly not at that point yet. And again, I don't think anybody's franchise tagged anybody, because I think we're all still waiting to see what the salary cap ultimately is going to end up being. But, I mean, you lose a couple of these guys, there's some mighty big holes in that Ravens defense you have to fill.
Yeah, they got some holes on the offensive line with
I don't feel
Yanda
bad.
retiring. No, we don't feel bad about it at all. It's our time. Let's go. All right, let's go on now. To Todd McShay 3.0. Jags, Lawrence, Wilson, Zach Wilson to the Jets. Carolina jumps the quarterback line. They take Justin Fields 3rd overall. Atlanta, Trey Lance. First 4 picks, he has all quarterbacks. Penei Sewell to Cincinnati at 5. Kyle Pitts to Philly. We've seen that a lot. Jamar Chase, the wide receiver, to Detroit. Devontae Smith to Miami, the wide receiver, via their trade with Carolina. The Niners come ahead, and they go to number 9 and take Mac Jones, the more mobile Tom Brady. Number 10, Dallas Cowboys get Patrick Surtain the 2nd. Jalen Waddle, the receiver from Alabama, the Giants at 11. The Broncos, Caleb Farley, the corner. And then as we kind of go through some of the names that have been linked to the Browns, I'll shout those out as they go off the board. Kwity Paye, the defensive end from Michigan, to the Vikings at 14. Micah Parsons, the linebacker from Penn State, to the Patriots at 15. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he goes to the Raiders at 17, the linebacker safety out of Notre Dame. Kadarius Toney, the speedy wide receiver from Florida, to the Washington football team at 19. He and Terry McLaurin would be a nice duo that they'd have there. 21, Greg Rousseau, Miami, defensive end. 22, Jalen Phillips, defensive end, Miami, to Tennessee. Azeez Ojulari, pass rusher again, 23, to the Jets. So that's where the run happens. If the Browns are looking for a defensive end there, which is why maybe you get a defensive end in, get him in free agency. Trevon Moehrig, the safety from TCU that's been mocked to us, Cynthia Freeland had him, goes 25 to the Jags. And then the Browns, Zaven Collins. And he says 3 straight mock drafts, 3 straight with Collins to the Browns. He can be a pass rusher opposite Myles Garrett, stellar closing burst. He can cover. He had 4 interceptions a season ago. He said, I could also see Cleveland looking at safety if Trevon Moehrig is available. So Zaven Collins, that's a name we're starting to hear a lot. Versatile in what he can do. And then the Buffalo Bills, Travis Etienne. You put Travis Etienne on that team, goodness gracious, that seems like they are going to be pretty good. Joe Tryon, another name that's been linked to the Browns. He goes 28th to the Saints. So after we picked Terrence Marshall Jr., the wide receiver from LSU, to the Ravens. So that's a look at Todd McShay's mock 3.0, Zaven Collins, a name that really seems to be the most – he seems to be the most mocked to the Browns right now, is Zaven Collins.
5 quarterbacks in what, the top 10? Was that right? Did I have that?
First 4 picks and then number 9, Mac Jones. Yep.
I just don't see that happening.
It's a quarterback league, brother.
Yeah, I know it's a quarterback league. Are these guys worth mortgaging your future to move up to get? Maybe someone feels that way, but do you think outside of Trevor Lawrence? I mean, Justin Fields, I think, is going to be good. I think. I don't know. I don't. The whole. I'm not quite sure what to make of Zach Wilson and the buzz around him. The other 2 guys, I don't think they're top 10 picks.
We'll
but
see.
The more quarterbacks picked, the more that talent pool gets bumped back to us.
That's right. Get them off the board.
But I don't know. I don't see 4 quarterbacks going top 4. Trey Lance from North Dakota State, I don't know.
He's going to go. He'll go in the top 10. You watch. It's a quarterback
league. No,
league.
he's going to go in the top 10. Someone will move up. But, I mean, I don't think top 5. I mean, you've got a couple teams here that do have some needs. So, outside of quarterback.
All right.
And there's too many good players that are going to be good players.
We'll see.
I shouldn't say that. Nothing's a certain, but knowing those positions and knowing some of those players, I would think that you have a better chance of upgrading at other positions.
All right, Gibby, I hate to interrupt you, but there's a video that has just come across my Twitter feed that is Wyatt Teller, the Browns starting right guard, carrying a gigantic alligator on his back. And I am stunned by what I see. I'm going to take a break to recover. What? Your phone calls, though, when we return. I just tweeted this out. I don't even understand what the heck is happening.
What in the hell is going on?
Great question. Great question. So many more questions than answers are what we have right now. Your phone calls, 216-578-0850. Next. right, welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily. To the phone lines we go. Starting off with Will. What's up, Will?
Hey guys.
How you doing, man?
Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, of course.
Not too bad. I'm in your motherland of San Francisco. I just moved out here.
Nice.
Just about a month or two ago, not too long ago. So yeah, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on the Browns possibly signing a wide receiver free agent this offseason. And I know, I love our guys. I love Hollywood Higg. That's our guy. But as an Ohio State alum, I also want to kind of test the water and see what could be going on possibly with a Curtis Samuel. I know you kind of maybe you're foreshadowing. I heard you bring him up earlier, but I would love to see us maybe bring in a 4-3 guy like him and see how we can stretch this offense.
I think that the team will certainly explore every avenue possible as it relates to adding speed to that wide receiver room. And now Curtis Samuel, I think he's going to end up being more expensive than the Browns are probably likely willing to go at receiver, knowing what is going to be committed to Jarvis and to Odell already. So it would surprise me a little bit if they were to go into that rarefied area. By the way, in San Francisco, Gaspari's Pizza, get the old number 1. It's on Geary. It's the best. That's a pizza of my childhood.
I pay attention to the scores, Nathan. And,
of course you do. Well,
it was delicious. Delicious. Highly recommend anyone who's in the Bay Area.
You've already had it. This guy's a legend. This is what we're talking about. See, we open the phone lines. We've been disappointed. Then we have an angel like Will come in here and say, this is how it's done. Are you on? Are you on, Gibbe? Yeah, you're on. You're on.
I love it. That's a good call. That's a solid call.
That is a great call.
Will, thanks for the call. I hope you have a good weekend.
Will.
Enjoy some pie. Enjoy some cocktails.
Right now, Caller Hall of Fame. Will, he's there with Blanca. Blanca and Will, Caller Hall of Fame.
Blanca.
I know, Blanca from Bay Village. But nonetheless, I would say this is a receiver, though. Again, speed. We've heard them linked to a name like Brashad Perriman, who was here before. Vertical guy, not going to break the bank. So that's the kind of guy I think. Curtis Samuel's going to get a lot of money, I think, and deservedly so. He might sign a 1-year deal somewhere and then really try to cash in again next year. But Curtis Samuel's a darn good player. Brashad Perriman is somebody that would make a lot of sense for the Browns. 27 years old, vertical, but is not going to be, $10+ million given what you've got invested in Odell and in Jarvis. All right, I think we have another Will, if I'm not mistaken.
We do have another Will.
What's up,
we
Will
do
number
have another
2?
Will in Brook Park.
All right, how you doing, Will?
This is he. Good, I'm fired up. I'll get to my question in a minute, but I had to comment on, I guess we're really not the same old Browns. Wyatt Teller there carrying an alligator. How awesome is he?
I mean, it's really a stunning video. I tweeted out. That's the guy you want protecting your quarterback. That's what I'd say. That's what you want protecting your quarterback.
And isn't his contract coming up in a year?
Not this year. He's not a free agent this year.
Too.
Yeah, I have a feeling Wyatt Teller's
here's my
question.
For a while. Here's my question. We saw Field Yates tweet out that salary cap carryover number, $29 million. He said for the Browns, which he surmised would put us at $209.
Yep.
My question is, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, but you could get it. How far are we roughly, subject to change, under the 180 already? I'm trying to find out how much room we might have to spend.
$20 million.
So we're looking at 49 total as of today, roughly.
It depends on what it ultimately shakes out at. Yeah, we have very little dead money, only about $500,000 of dead money, and this is just from over the cap right now. We've got about $20 million in cap space, but I think ultimately it's going to end up being around 23-ish, because I don't know what cap they're using. The cap liabilities, we have 196, top 51, 188, team cap space 20 is what it says right now. So I think that all depends. But we're in the top half of the league for sure in space. It'll end up being somewhere between 20 and 40. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you very much. All right. Who we got next?
What do you got, Nick?
We have Logan in Dayton.
That's right. Logan. How you doing, Logan?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Good.
So first off, I just want to know when the on-off light's coming, because that's is the most important.
I should run you right
Thank
now.
you. No, how dare you?
Logan, I'm kidding.
Logan, this is already another great. We've had two 3, this is a great call again. Logan, you're off to a great start. I can't wait to hear what comes next. But it's a great question, isn't it? You saw Gibbe fall victim for the second time since we've been back. We've only been back in the studio for what?
That's what we want, Gibby.
Yeah, that's what do we want? A light. When do we want it? Now.
It's not happening. It's not in the budget.
Logan, legend. Yes, good. What else can we do for you, Logan?
Yeah, so if Zaven Collins and the kid from Notre Dame, JOK, as we like to abbreviate, are both available at 26. Do you think the Browns go there, or do you think they still go edge rusher, depending on who's available?
I think a lot of it's going to depend on what happens in free agency, right? And free agency seems to be a better shopping market for the Browns at the defensive end position because as you see in all these mocks, once you get to the Indy spot, it seems like Indy, Tennessee, you got 3 teams in a row, and I forget who goes right after them, all taking edge rushers. And so for the Browns, you want to be able to kind of control your own destiny there, right, and get the guys that you want. And so I'm not sure how that plays out. The next team that has been taking one, Indy, Tennessee, sometimes the Jets and the Jags. I think they're looking for the best guy that can help their defense at any level. Again, off-ball linebacker would surprise me a little bit, but Zaven Collins is much more than just an off-ball linebacker. He's going to be a guy that they probably think can get 6+ sacks a year in his ability to rush the quarterback, play well in coverage, be Anthony Barr plus. And they all know how good Anthony Barr was in Minnesota for that team and for that defense. So those guys are both, I think, certainly on the radar. We haven't heard a lot about the Browns and corners. It's been much more linked to either a pass rusher, a rangy athletic linebacker, which would be JOK. Collins fits that bill. Both can rush the passer, or a safety that would allow them to play that 3 safety alignment that I think they would be very pleased to play more often. If you could get a young stud with Harrison and Delpin, have all those guys on the field, the chess pieces, they can all cover in the slot. They can all rush the passer. They can all play single high. That would give a lot of flexibility and ability to disguise. And that's really all defenses have left now, their ability to confuse the quarterback. But so, guys, this is great. If we keep it at this level, Gibbe, this is something that we could do on the reg on a Friday.
Now you gotta convince Bishop.
I don't know if Bishop will, but when he hears what has happened, Will's already had Gaspari's old number 1. Logan's in here already talking about that we need a light. I mean, this is high-level stuff. All right, last caller as we wrap up the first hour. Who we got?
It is Adam in the ATL.
It's like going through my life journey right now. The Bay Area, my college town, Atlanta. What's up, Adam?
Hey, guys. How's it going? It's Adam from Atlanta, and I also am a BGSU grad, so got a couple connections down here.
Nice. Yeah, baby. Adam, have you been to Grindhouse? Grindhouse?
Oh, yeah. I live 5 minutes down the street off of Piedmont Road.
Yes.
So I live right next to Grindhouse. I love Grindhouse. We were going to go there last night, but it was a little packed.
That's my boy, Al B. If you go in there, tell him next time you go in there, say, is Al Brownstein here? Alex Brownstein. He's the proprietor of and it's Nick Chubb's favorite as well.
Awesome.
And tell that's like my fraternity brother. That was my roommate in college. That's my guy. Al B.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Yes.
I'll have to do that. Got a quick question for you guys. Want to know what your thoughts are on, I know people are talking about holding off on extending Baker, which I sort of agree with. I just think that getting Baker in a prove-it situation, we could get the best Baker possible. And then if we wait, I mean, we're going to have to pay him, but I just think that the payoff in a Baker prove-it year is well worth it. What do you guys think?
So I'm coming from the standpoint that, whatever makes the most sense. And by the way, might make more sense for Baker to want to wait when we know what the salary cap looks like and all of those things. So I think Baker is our franchise quarterback. I say that with 100% certainty. And so I don't think he needs any more motivation. I think that the taste that they got in the playoffs and the fire that's lit in this organization, you can feel it just being in the building now. We want more. I mean, we were talking, you'll hear Jeff Howard, the bottom of this next hour. We want more. He wears the shirt around his house, he was telling us, because that's the mentality that they got a taste and they're not satisfied. They want more. And I think that Baker Mayfield embodies that on this team. So I don't think you'd have to have a hunger. I don't think there's any hunger concern with Baker Mayfield. I have no hunger concern about it. If he gets his extension now or later, he's going to be ready to play. He's going to be motivated. Now that's what I'm talking about, folks. 4 for 4. We'll take that all the time. Well, this is something that's important ammunition when we have to talk to Beau. Say, look, they went 4 for 4. If we keep up 4 for 4, we keep it going. Lights, pizzas, burgers, great questions.
Maybe
alligators.
a break right now because we got Gribbs.
Gribbs coming up next. That's your first hour. Cleveland Browns Daily. What a Friday. Off to a fiery start.
Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You ready?
Yes.
All right, you are up.
Gotta get down to the bus stop. I see my friends. Yes. Old school Gibby. Little Rebecca Black. Friday. Because what day is it? What day is it? Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
Nick, I simply play this because Zegura singing is just so god-awful.
Oh, it's so good.
It's great. It's
what
fantastic.
do you mean? Are you kidding me? I'm killing it.
No, yeah, you are killing it.
Party
you are
fun.
It's been dead
fun.
and continues
Looking
to be.
forward to the weekend. Gibbe, focus on lights, not singing critiques. That's my advice. Free career advice, too. There you go. All right, here we go. Are you on the injured list? We can help you get back in the game. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk, proud partner of the Cleveland Browns. And you are listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. I guess that you're maybe listening to an unbelievable acoustic jam session. But no, nay. It's Cleveland Browns Daily, and we welcome in Browns senior staff writer Sir Andrew Gribble calling in via the Fifth Third money line as we're going to take a look at the safeties today. But before that, Gribbs, every time it's one day it's aliens. The next day, it's walking around with a gator slung across your back. What do you make of this Wyatt Teller video that we've seen? I'm flabbergasted.
I just have too many questions.
That's what I said. More questions than answers. Many.
I don't even know what one of those things weigh. Like, should I be impressed by the weight he's carrying? Like, I don't, or is that just an easy lift? Like, I just don't even know. I don't know where to start.
I don't think that it is easy. I don't think that it is light. I think, Gibbe, can you look up the average weight of a Florida alligator? Because that's a sizable one. That was not a small gator.
No.
I'm saying.
Hey,
I'm going to do a guess the scores.
Alligators terrify me, though.
My
they're
God.
on my list of most terrifying animals. I don't even like watching this video.
I'm going to do a guess the scores. I'm going to say 450 pounds. That's my guess. But there's no way that's real.
I guess the question is, how long is it?
I think that looked like it. I'm going to say that looked like a 10-footer to me.
Do you want the average male or female?
Male. That looked like a man.
500 pounds.
450. I was right there. All right. And he's walking around like it's nothing, Gribbs. No. Nothing.
Yeah. I'm impressed.
How did it go from alive to not alive? So many questions to ask. But listen, you put 500 pounds on my back, I'm not walking anywhere. I think I'm probably collapsing into the earth. He's just walking around, and I believe he's wearing Crocs, which is totally just a slap in the face of the gator, which I think is even better. But you're right. I was terrified. So at the San Francisco Aquarium, they had the House of Reptiles. And in the House of Reptiles, you were kind of elevated and then lining around were all the snakes and everything in their glass cases that you'd walk around and see the poisonous snakes. Oh, very scary and all this, and, got some other stuff. But in the middle, there was like this waterfall, and down below was it was kind of like a pit. It was in the center. There were trees, waterfalls, and like this like kind of little lake in there. And in the center of the House of Reptiles, that's where the alligators were, the alligators and the crocodiles. And there were probably 8 to 10 of them in there. And the railing, as I recall, was just kind of like a black metal, cast iron or whatever, wrought iron railing. But you couldn't fit a person through there, maybe a small, skinny child, but you could see through. And if I ever had a recurring nightmare as a kid, it was that somehow I fell into this pit of alligators and I was done for, obviously.
Yeah, it's just not for me. I think I've watched it one more time, and I think that's it for me. I don't know how I'm going to block this video on Twitter because it's just going to keep popping up.
Oh, you're not going to. No, you will not block it.
All the influencers out there are going to feel the need to quote tweet this video.
The only thing that might save you right now is the popularity of the Milwaukee Bucks Purell cam. That's the only thing that could save you.
I might just close off Twitter for the rest of the day. I'll be more productive.
The sanitizer cam. Anyway. On to the safeties. This is a position that I think is going to has a chance, I think, to look a lot different here. We've got Grant Delpit, who we didn't play at all last year, the second rounder at LSU. Ronnie Harrison will be back. Sheldrick Redwine will be back. And then you've got Elijah Benton and Javonte Moffitt, who were practice squad guys. Moffitt got called up late in the year. And the free agents, though, were the guys who played the most snaps for you. Carl Joseph, Andrew Sendejo. When you think about this room and the fact that I think we all know we were supposed to see a lot of these guys on the field, maybe 3 of them at a time. That didn't really materialize much because of the injury to Delpit, which I think just kind of shifted everything that they were planning on doing in this room, Gribbs.
Yeah, it was just a constant state of flux for that group. I think it was like early in the year, you're waiting for Ronnie Harrison to get going and get comfortable with the playbook. And then finally, when he's back, then you've got other guys that are injured. It just rotating door all year. And it just, you wanted to see what that group could have been capable of if you just had your guys locked in for every single game. So it left me wanting more, but also at the same time, I thought they handled it all right. You know, I think that they dealt with it. And I think we saw a lot of the most important thing I think I saw during last season was the kind of playmaker that Ronnie Harrison can be for this defense moving forward. I think that to me was like, okay, you made the right move to get him in here. He's a playmaker. He's got the instincts you like to see at that position and a lot of position flexibility. Now I just want to see him with a year in the system and just feel like he was snake bit by a few different things throughout the year, but just want to see a full season out of him, knowing that he can do a lot more.
If there's one silver lining in the Grant Delpit injury, it's Ronnie Harrison, right? And there's no way he's on our roster. I would think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I would be surprised that he would be on our roster if Grant didn't get hurt. And as I wrote in my notes here, got him for a 5th rounder, an instant star, one of the top players on our D, was the 9th best graded safety in the NFL per Pro Football Focus, pick 6, fumble recoveries, blitzes. I said he should be a star for years to come last year of his rookie deal, and the idea of Harrison and Delpit together, I love that. I love that idea going forward. And then Sendejo, 999 snaps, second most on the team. Probably won't be back, would you think? Maybe, in a backup role. And then there's Carl Joseph, who was brought in, the former first rounder, started off slow, ended up losing his job in the middle of the season. But you think about the end of the year, it's Carl Joseph's blitz that leads to the MJ Stewart interception week 17 against the Steelers. It's Carl Joseph who recovers the fumble on the opening snap against the Steelers in the playoff game. And then it's Carl Joseph who picks off Chad Henne in the Chiefs game. And you wonder if Carl Joseph's a guy that maybe you bring back to have, Joseph, Harrison, Delpit as your safeties. He's an interesting one to me because I thought as the season went on, his play definitely picked up, and it seemed like he was in the right place at the right time quite a bit down the stretch.
Yeah, and it's one of those things with Carl Joseph, like throughout his career, he's had kind of these bursts of moments like that. And I think you look at his time with the Raiders, which was obviously kind of snake bit by injuries here and there. But, you look at 2019, that was going to be his best season of his career before the serious foot injury. And I wonder, too, you remember his training camp was kind of stunted also. He was on and off every day, every other day. And I thought he, again, like Harrison, nose for the ball, seemed to always be around the activity when he was out there and healthy and playing at a high level. So he's one where I've gotten asked in my mailbag a few times, do you think he could potentially be back? And, that's when I'm really up in the air. I just don't know. It's just about what could you maybe get elsewhere on the safety market? Are you going to try to add through the draft? But, I liked what I saw from Carl Joseph throughout the season. And again, you finish strong. That's the final impression leaving. And Carl Joseph left a good final impression.
He certainly did. Behind him, you had Sheldrick Redwine, the second-year safety out of Miami. 2 interceptions this year, one in that Pittsburgh playoff victory. And Sheldrick, a guy that they like, has improved, and we'll see where he goes. And then we mentioned Javonte Moffitt, the undrafted free agent, who did some special team work, and Elijah Benton, who was also active one game. But both of these guys were on the practice squad for a lot of the season. Moffitt certainly more time on the main roster than Benton, but 2 guys. And Moffitt, probably stayed in the brown and orange with his performance back at First Energy Stadium in those more emphasized practice scrimmages that happened when he came up with a couple interceptions.
Gosh, that feels like a million years ago.
Doesn't it?
I mean, it's crazy. Again, there'll be guys that are in the mix. I think you always seem to see. I don't know why it's like the safety position always creates some players in training camp that you're like, wow, that guy could make this team and could make an impact. And I think that there'll be guys that are competitive and in the mix for maybe a couple of those final roster spots. And again, all comes down to special teams for those guys because they end up being major contributors out there.
They do. So that's kind of our top-level look at the safety room. Should look very different this year, and it's been a position of speculation that the Browns would look to add somebody in free agency, perhaps Anthony Harris, John Johnson, somebody, of a veteran like that, maybe Malik Hooker, the former Ohio State Buckeye, who certainly has great ball skills. He's a guy that, to me, that fits our MO, right? A former first-rounder on a one-year prove-it deal, like Joseph was, like Kevin Johnson in the cornerback room. So maybe Malik Hooker, and you give some versatility and some options. We've seen them linked to Trevon Moehrig, the safety out of TCU in the draft as well. So I think this is a room you're going to count on Delpit Harrison, but I think there's going to be a third important piece added to the room, whether it be free agency or the draft.
Yeah, this is a safety class that's kind of loaded in free agency. It's very high on the kind of top end type players that are going to command a decent amount of money in free agency. You mentioned the player that we were linked to last year, Anthony Harris. I mean, you look at Justin Simmons of the Broncos, Marcus Williams. I mean, Marcus May, John Johnson. I mean, I think Pro Football Focus has in their top free agents, 5 of the top 25 are safeties, and then there's a big drop off from that point forward. And you mentioned Malik Hooker, Keanu Neal with the Falcons. I mean, those are some of those maybe lower tier ones you can get on those 1-year deals, and then what do you balance it with? What's better, a 1-year deal with Malik Hooker or 1 year back with Carl Joseph who knows his system? So these are the decisions that Andrew Berry has to weigh. And I got asked about it in my mailbag again this week. Like, is safety really that big of a need? And I go like 5 different ways with it, because I could see you could really upgrade the production of the room, or maybe when you look at it, you're like, wow, we might be fine with Ronnie and Grant Delpit as the core here. So it's just I go back and forth. This one's a tough one to peg, but there's options out there even before the draft.
There are, and now it is time for Gibby to come in here with his questions for us and the safety room, Gibby.
I just have a couple because we're going to be up against it. We got to get in this monster interview that you did with Jeff Howard.
Yeah, Gribbs, we got 23 minutes with Jeff Howard.
Wow. I got to go back and listen to that now.
Yeah, well, it's coming up. You don't have to go back anywhere. It's going to come up right
Oh,
after.
no,
right.
it's coming up.
Yeah, we're going from you right into Jeff Howard. It's a massive hour number 2.
All right.
Nice.
Question number 1, guys. When you take a look at the whole scope of a defense,
okay,
where do you rank the position of safety on this defense? Now, you have defensive tackle, defensive end, linebackers, corners, safeties. I'll keep it simple. 5 positions. Where do you rank it? Gribble, start with you.
Whew. It's tough because I wonder what a Joe Woods defense could be like unleashed with some big time, like, huge name safety kind of players out there. And that's what makes me intrigued by this. I think by default I'm going to go 4th on this one, with pass rushers, corners, D tackles ahead of it. So that's where I'll go. But I still think, though, I would love to see this group unleashed with multiple guys who can play a variety of spots in the defense at a very high level. And I think Joe Woods would particularly enjoy that, and it might shift my valuation. But for now, I'll go 4th.
I'll go 3rd just to be different and put it ahead of defensive tackle. You got your edge rushers, you got your corners, and then the safeties. And part of that is because I've already had the benefit of talking with Jeff Howard, and one of the comments he made at the end was, give me all the talented safeties you can, and I will figure out a way to get them on the field, and we will make plays. He like, give me safeties, more and more safeties. I want safeties. So that makes me think he holds them in pretty high regard, so I'm going to put it 3rd.
All right. Zegura,
yes.
One name to watch in free agency that the Browns could be interested in.
All right.
Or that they should be interested in.
As trying to be an overachiever, Anthony Harris, I'd say at the top level. I would say Malik Hooker on a 1-year prove-it deal, and then an under-the-radar guy, Will Parks, who played his best football in Denver when Joe Woods was the DC and can play both safety positions and special teams.
Gribble, give me a safety to watch in the draft that we should keep our eye on. Or safeties if you've got a couple.
Nah, I've got one, and I think it's the one and only with Trevon Moehrig. I think he's someone that really could fit the bill if he's able to fall down to 26. I think that's going to be the tough thing, because I have a hard time believing he's going to be around at that point. So then it's one of those where it almost feels like last year we knew that a bunch of these guys were going to be available on day 2, and that's what it turned out to be true. And there was kind of a surplus of these safeties around, but a couple other names that are out there: Javon Holland out of Oregon, Hamza Nasruddin out of Florida State. I mean, these are all kind of clustered together, but I think Moehrig is the top guy, and he might be the only one that goes in the first round.
Gribbs, what is your thought on the safety position as we get into the draft, and how deep is it? Like, if they don't take someone in the first or second round, are there guys there on day 3 that can make an impact?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think with this front office too, you're always going to try to find the right fit for what you're going to do on defense. And I just think what you've looked at historically, you always seem to be able to add a guy or two at that position on day 2 or day 3. But if I'm looking at it right now, CBS Sports has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that play safety that are in the top 100 prospects in this year's draft. So day 2, day 3, early day 3. If you're going to be adding someone that could potentially make an impact on the defense, you're probably looking in that 2nd through early 4th round range if you're going to do it.
And that's it, gentlemen.
There it is. Gribbs, tremendous stuff all week. Thank you so much for joining us here each of the last 3 days at 2 o'clock, going through the positions on the defense. Have a great weekend. But before I let you go, anything you want to plug on clevelandbrowns.com, Browns mobile app for the weekend?
I mentioned it a couple times. The Browns mailbag will be out in about an hour. So that'll take you into the weekend, and a lot of draft stuff and a little bit of free agency as well.
Tremendous. Get into that mailbag, because when we come back, we told you it's time. The exclusive, CBD exclusive, one-on-one with Jeff Howard. And just a reminder, Gribbs appeared on the Fifth Third Money Line. All the guests who appear on CBD appear via the Fifth Third Money Line. Fifth Third Bank, making Cleveland Browns Daily a Fifth Third better. One-on-one with the Browns defensive back coach and pass game coordinator, Jeff Howard. That is next.
Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily. Very happy now to be joined by the Browns defensive back coach Jeff Howard. And Coach, I think this is one of the first times that we've gotten to talk. So first of all, it's great talking to you. And how are you doing here in this offseason?
Doing well. Appreciate the opportunity to sit down and talk with you.
So before we get into anything really of substance, I will say this, Money Mitch is a great friend of the show. We talk to him all the time, and he said you are one of the swaggiest coaches he's ever had. So what does that mean? I know I see you on the sideline. You always got the hat with kind of the same color, the monochrome Browns hat. You're always looking good out there. But for Money Mitch to label you one of the swaggiest coaches, that carries a lot of weight with us. So what do you mean by that? What's he mean by that?
I don't know. He's never told me that, so this is news to me. But
you'll take it.
Appreciate Money Mitch. DBs, you got to go out there, and it's a different mentality working with those guys. And I don't know, I try to be one of them. So
well, apparently it is working. It's working. So this year was crazy. It would be enough to come, from the Vikings like you did, come to the Browns, try to implement some new techniques in this defense and all of that in a normal offseason. You guys had such little on-field work. What was that like for you as a coach, trying to put in some of those new techniques and trying to get these guys up to speed and play at a high level, which they ultimately did?
Right. So there was a lot of challenges this last year, just obviously with the pandemic and, being able to practice or not being able to practice. Those were challenges in itself. And, like you said, putting in a new system, but also like trying to establish a new culture, a new value system. Those were all challenges, and I really appreciate our guys because I feel like we stepped up to those challenges in a lot of ways.
Another challenge was presented to you, and we didn't realize just how significant it would be on one day in training camp, because I imagine you were thinking Greedy Williams is starting on one side opposite Denzel Ward, and I know you had big plans for Grant Delpit, and all of a sudden in one day they were gone and they did not play for you this season. What was kind of that like when you said, okay, this was plan A, all of a sudden we're into plan B, maybe even plan C, when two guys that you were counting on to play big roles in your room went down?
Right. That was a tough day, just like you said, in the span of about 30 minutes, we lost two significant pieces of our defensive backfield, and that was tough to go through. Something that we had talked up to that point was, especially with our younger guys, those rookies or guys that were down the depth chart, is you never know when your time is going to come, and you got to make sure that you're ready for it. So Coach Lynch and I really tried to keep that a focus. And, especially in the NFL, you're not afforded a lot of reps, and some of those guys down the roster, especially, but you still got to be ready for those challenges. And when your time hits, you got to be ready for it. And I think, some of our guys kind of did that this last year when those two went down.
I remember there were some days in training camp where like the top 5 corners were all down, where you were going through. It was like almost like, Coach, get in there, and that had to be tough, and especially in a truncated offseason. But it got those guys some reps because it turned out you were going to need a lot of them at various points throughout the season.
Right. There's a point too after, I think it was the practice right after that happened. I think when adversity strikes, you really got to focus on what's important and really keep swinging. And that was kind of my message to those guys is, let's use our opportunities that we have. Let's go out there and challenge. We're not going to take a step back. We're going to go swing. And I think the next day we went out and practiced, and some of those corners, they were locking down. It was a Saturday practice, and I remember like we were challenging, we were having fun, like we're celebrating together, excited. That was a moment that I'll remember, for a while, just because of the adversity that we went through the day before with those injuries.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that leads to a situation where in week 17 and in the playoff win, MJ Stewart can come up with 2 picks. Sheldrick can get an interception. Guys, that were getting reps then that maybe you weren't counting on, but all of a sudden they were thrust into it. So let's kind of go through.
Absolutely. And I'd like to talk about that a little bit more, if you don't mind, like cataloging those situations where you're, hey, do you guys remember this? Like we were put in a similar situation earlier in the season. I get it. It was a practice situation, but that confidence is such a big key for those guys. Is, hey, we've done it in the past. You guys have done it in the past. We're in a challenging situation. I believe in you. Let's go out there and do it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did. Now, Denzel Ward, one of the best corners in the league. When you see him and see his ability to play some of that press man and be such a good, have that great mirror technique that he's got, what stands out to you about his game? And are we just kind of scratching the surface with Denzel?
Yeah, Denzel, I really enjoy working with him. He is a tremendous talent. I think something that strikes me is just his level of commitment for his craft and really how important this team is to him. There was times in this season where he was, injured or hurting and came out there and fought for his teammates. And that was really great to see. But always enjoy working with Denzel. He's a guy that we spend extra time with, in between periods after practice, constantly asking good questions. I'd like to think that he's on the rise and will continue to get better. And I'm kind of excited for his development, going into year 2.
Absolutely. And that's so nice for these guys. And I know, I'm not sure if you're aware, but a lot of these guys haven't had 2 consecutive years in a scheme where they can grow in that scheme. And so that'll be nice for especially a young guy like Denzel. Then on the other side, guy gave you 1,225 snaps this year. Right. He talk about abilities, availability, reliability. That was Money Mitch. And I know he's an unrestricted free agent. I know we all hope he comes back, and I know he wants to as well. But when you have a guy all of a sudden be able to step in like that and just play for you every single week, get his hands on the football. He's great at punching the ball out. I think he had 3 forced fumbles, second behind only Miles on the team. And he's a great guy to be around, right? He's a fun guy. What did you get out of Money Mitch this year?
Right. Very thankful that we had Terrence this year. And just like you talked about, availability, reliability, a guy that came out and really stepped up to the challenge and helped our defense out in a lot of ways. Very much appreciative of what he did this year. Talking about plays, didn't miss a play, also didn't miss a practice rep. And I think when you have a guy that come out there do that, it forces others to think about what they're doing, and it's a positive example for everybody on the team.
Absolutely. And Coach, I don't know if you know this or not, but he's launching a clothing line, a fashion line.
All right. Well, I got to set my swag up then.
Exactly.
Glad you told me about this. I have to check that out. That's the first I've heard of it. I have to hit him up about it. See if I can get some free gear.
He's got to hook up the swaggiest coach he's ever had.
What's the T Mitch brand? You got to hit me up.
T Mitch. I think it's, what is it? I think it's T Mitch 39 or TM 39, something like that. 39. Yeah.
I got
there you go. I'm sure you'll get some of that gear. As we kind of go through your room, another guy who came in, Kevin Johnson. And I remember, I thought he was one of the stars of training camp before he suffers a complete freak injury. That set him back a little bit, but a guy who went out there, competed for you, inside, outside versatility, et cetera.
Right. I think you'll remember, I think his first snap at one-on-ones, he ended up getting a pick. Which was awesome to see. He was having such a good training camp before he had that freak accident, and you could really see what we had in him in that how he competed. Yeah, just like a really fiery guy, aggressive player, and ended up getting hurt, but came and bounced back, and fortunately for us, was able to come back and play significant snaps in the slot, also outside at corner. And we had obviously had a lot of different injuries, and different guys had to step up at different times. And Kevin was one of those pieces that did that.
And what's it like taking a guy like Javier Thomas, who's been a special teams guy his whole career, and he ends up being your starting nickel early in the season and play well? Obviously a very good tackler. You guys used him as a blitzer a lot. He was a good blitzer as well. Yeah. But what was that kind of like? I'm sure that was a new coaching experience for you when all of a sudden we're like, wait a second, we're out 1, we're out 2. We got to get this guy from teams in here and have him play some nickel.
Absolutely. And early on, he was our nickel. And like you said, he had I think his best snaps in coverage were tackling, and then he had some really good blitzes, had a sack in the first game of the year. But just wanted to give him that, he earned that opportunity and came in there for us and played some winning ball, especially like in this, came out in the Cincinnati game and played for us in the Dallas game. But, appreciative of what he did for us. And then whenever his role changed and he was back on the special teams, like he was still such a great teammate on the sideline, helping the guys out and kind of accepting the role for what it was and kind of making the most of it and just ultimately putting the team first. So I, think a lot of all these guys and very appreciative of what they did for us.
Yeah, and then there's MJ Stewart, former second-round pick. So, the guy's got talent. Doesn't work out in Tampa. I remember he comes into camp. I think he had an interception on his very first day in camp with us. He then gets a little bit of an injury, so he's kind of behind it. But as the season progresses, and he'd be the first to tell you because he's told us this, so I don't mind saying it, some inconsistency. He had some really good games. He had some games where he struggled. But when you talk about getting picks in Week 17 and in that divisional round, big plays and big moments.
Right. Those turnovers, like you said, are so important. And Coach Stefanski talks about the importance of taking the ball away, creating turnovers, and MJ did that a few times for us. He did come in late. We got him late in the process, but he came in really melded with the room, has a great personality, kind of bought into what we were doing, learned things pretty quickly, and then came in and executed that nickel role like you were talking about.
Yeah, and he's a guy that you're going to have another opportunity to work with, which is exciting.
The other thing with him is, his special teams reps.
Yeah.
He had a significant role playing special teams and did a really good job with that as well.
AJ Green was kind of a lot of buzz about AJ Green in the offseason, right? The highest paid undrafted free agent in the NFL, comes to the Browns. He was active at the very end. I think he was active in that divisional playoff win or the wild card win over the Steelers. Yeah. We didn't see a ton of him on the field this year. What did you see as a coach, and is he a guy that you think has a chance to really expand his role in 2021?
Yeah, here's my great story of AJ Green, right? So he's the guy that's always ready. You ask him a question, whether he's up or down, he's going to know the answer to it. And the thing that stands out to me with AJ Green is he was up for the game against Washington and standing by me on the sideline the whole game. And all of a sudden, one play, Denzel gets hurt or something and is like walking off the field, and they're on the ball. Like it was like a no huddle situation.
Yeah, he got one.
So I was like, we're down one. And all of a sudden, I was like, I need a corner. Boom, AJ Green just jumps out there. And it was awesome to see. You talk about being ready for your opportunity. Like, what a great example of that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I didn't have to. I literally turned around and said, I need one. And AJ's out there. And that's really what stands out to me is, a guy that you could tell loves football, loves the process, good teammate. And when the opportunity comes, he's always playing his best. And you guys don't see it, but even out at practice, like he takes his role very seriously, whether it's getting scout reps, or I would give him, reps with us on defense. And he would always make the most of that and always go out there and compete at 100%. And that's what I appreciate about AJ.
Yeah. Are you excited to see kind of his progress this year, now his second year in the league? And is he somebody you think that has the potential to play meaningful snaps?
Right. Absolutely. So, absolutely. I'm excited about AJ and what he's done in the past. And hopefully we can continue to build on that.
So Grant goes down. All of a sudden, there's a trade made. 5th round pick to Jacksonville. In comes Ronnie Harrison. And I think it was pretty clear to everybody once Ronnie got around that we got ourselves a real baller. And what was kind of him coming in late, obviously it was kind of slow to get him in there, get him up to speed. But once he did, it was clear he knew he just had a nose for the football. He found the football. And with somebody that, now you start thinking the future, Grant coming back, Grant and Ronnie together could be pretty exciting.
Right. So kind of navigating that early on was kind of tough because you can see, like, when we put him out there and he knew what to do, he was always around the ball. And so, like, as a coach, I always was in this, I always want to put them in craft, like, opportunities for them to be successful. Yep. And so it was kind of like learning the defense. How comfortable are you with the defense? Maybe this game we'll work in a series or two. And then as he felt more comfortable, or different roles, like with playing dime or, that instance, but just kind of crafting those situations where they could be successful and then build on successes. That was kind of the plan with Ronnie. And, he did that. And I think everybody kind of saw what kind of player that we could potentially have with him.
I'm sure you're excited about the thought of actually getting Grant back and having he and Ronnie on the field, knowing this defense and all of that. And for Grant, we didn't get to see him, but, everything that I've heard very much still dialed in. And do you think mentally he at least got a good season worth of reps so that when he's able to physically get on the field, he's going to be very well versed in this defense in his role?
Right. So, obviously those reps on the field are so important, but we try to make the most of the opportunities that we had with him. So he did before the injury get some significant reps, and then as well as sitting in meetings, like even after that, when we were in the building, he would sit in meetings and was very engaged, trying to learn the game plan. And that's what cataloging reps in his mind, like just because you're not out there, let's try to make the most of this opportunity that we have. And he really did that. And the credit I'd like to give Grant is, he really wasn't focused on, the injury. It was like as soon as the injury happened, he had his surgery, and it's like, okay, let's move forward. Let's try to get better, not feel sorry for myself. And you could really see that in everything that he was trying to do.
Which is awesome. And we got good news from the source, Greedy Williams, saying that, things are progressing with him, and it looks like he's going to be on track to be back for you guys. And, 2 LSU kids, and he talked about how having he and Grant together going through this was very helpful for both of them. But, the idea of being able to add those 2 guys back into your mix has to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. That was tough for Greedy, and try to stay engaged with him throughout the season, just because, I understand that you're not getting to do something you love, and kind of not being involved with the team as much as he would like. I know that was really tough for him, because I know how much the team is important to him. So excited, hopefully, moving forward, he'll be able to get to go out and do the things that he loves to do.
What's it like for you in this period when you think about the fact that Money Mitch played the most snaps for you at corner, Kevin Johnson played the 3rd most, Sendejo and Joseph played the most for you at safety, all unrestricted free agents? And I know that it's always an uncertain time. There's always turnover in the NFL. That's a part of it. But is that kind of is this a unique situation for you where you've got, 4 of your top 5 DBs in terms of snaps played may be back, may not be back, and there's going to be turnover? You got injured guys, Grant and Greedy coming back. So your room could look a lot different next year than this year.
Right. I think that's kind of the way it is probably everywhere. Every year you have a little bit of that. New guys coming in, guys leaving. But yeah, kind of just navigate it where it is, take the guys that are going to be here and try to make the most of it. But I'm very appreciative of those relationships with those guys and what they did for us this year as a team, as we're trying to, establish, who we want to be. And I think that's people related. And I think those guys did that. They established a culture within our room that, we're going to play together. We're going to play the fastest we can, and we're going to be productive. And, whoever that may be, it's the next guy up mentality. And that's kind of what those guys showed. Very appreciative of those guys for doing that.
What did it say to you about Carl Joseph that, he starts the year, had some struggles, then he is not playing as much at safety, but then you get to the end of the season, all of a sudden he's back out there. He comes up with a big fumble recovery against the Eagles. And then you think about the playoffs. He's the one who gets on that ball to start the game against Steelers. He gets the pick in the end zone against the Chiefs. All of a sudden it started to make some big plays there. And he's a former first rounder, so a kid with a lot of talent.
Right. Yeah, he really did step up at the end of the year. I feel like the game kind of slowed down for him. Started understanding our defense at a higher level. Always asked good questions, but you could really feel his comfort level as we finished up the year and then went into the playoffs. I even think of the interception with MJ. He was the one on the blitz that ended up pressuring the quarterback, and then obviously into the game with Kansas City when he got his hands on the ball late in the game. Those were big plays for us. But you could see his execution level just really increase as the year went on, and really kind of took a situation, with his role early on and really try to make the most of it. His opportunity, and we talked about it, like your opportunity is going to hit, you're going to get another chance at it at some point. Just make sure you make the most of it. And he really did that.
He did. It was fun to watch your room. I mean, you were dealing with so many, it seemed it would be very unique if you had the same starting 5 2 weeks in a row, and yet you guys were able to come together, get your hands on the ball. And I just had one question for you about kind of looking to the future, because we know Grant was really figured into the plans, and Joe's talked a lot about wanting to have some of those dime looks with the 3 safeties sometimes out there on the field together. And is that kind of exciting in this offseason to know that, you know, on paper now, because we had it on paper going into training camp too, but that some of those pieces are going to be back to do some of the things on defense that maybe you guys weren't able to do in your first year because of some of the injuries?
Right. I think, you know, when I think about this offseason and looking forward to next year, I think the thing that I really think of is, you know, we want more. We need to be better. We're focused on being better. You know, as coaches, we need to develop our guys better. And that's what I like about this time of year is it's a growth period. So being able to detach a little bit from the season, kind of think about what did we do well, what did we do poorly, and obviously we understand that we need to be better. Regardless of who's out there, we need to be better in the back end, and I think that's going to be our focus. Kind of a lighthearted story, you know, at the end of the year, we were given a shirt that said "We want more." Yeah, that's my around the absolutely. That's my walking around the house shirt. My wife makes fun of me, but I wear that shirt often because I really want it. That's like the key focus for myself.
1 minute.
Focus to our players when we get them back in April is we want more. Like, this isn't enough. Like, what are we doing to get better? And that's kind of what I talked to those guys about as we started the off season with our, with our interviews with each one of them is let's make sure that we're making the most of our days, even when we're away from the building, so that we can be the best whenever we do come back.
Coach, this has been great. Can't thank you enough. I know you want more and you want some of that Team Mitch swag, so we're hopefully going to get all that hooked up for you. But thanks so much for spending time with us. Enjoy your off season, and I know you like this time of the year, and then hopefully getting the guys back out on the grass soon. So thanks for being with us here on Cleveland Browns Daily.
You got the Team Mitch swag?
Not yet. It's coming though. He told us it's coming. He told us it's on the way. That's our guy.
Well, I appreciate it. It's good spending time with you and speaking with you, and all the best this offseason to you as well.
Thank you so much, Coach. All right, we'll be back with more Cleveland Browns Daily right after this. All right, thanks to Gribbs. Thanks to Browns DB coach and pass game coordinator Jeff Howard. Thanks to all you great callers. Also, special shout out to Adam. What T-shirts your girl Ash put together. Incredible. And to Wyatt Teller, that Gator never looked so good. Stay tuned. The next level is next. Have a